Masks soon to be mandatory in Muskoka. Huntsville Town Hall reopens to the public. And staying safe on the beaches. All that and more coming up right now. Welcome to Kojiko News for July the 7th. I'm James Bowler with what's happening in your community. Once again, the Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit is reporting 0 new cases of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Muskoka. Now, despite this downward trend we've seen, the Health Unit has announced a new mandate which will take effect in both Simcoe and Muskoka this Monday. Anyone in public indoor spaces must wear a mask. Here's the announcement that came from Dr. Charles Gardner earlier.
As of today, I have communicated in writing to the businesses, the operators of the businesses and organizations, indicating that I'm providing them with direction under the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act, requiring that they have a policy in place that would require that all people within the portion of their premises that is public require that they wear a face covering or a mask in order to address the concerns that I have walked through with you now and the potential to further protect the population and avoid a resurgence happening. In this order, we note that we want a best effort and we want goodwill in the implementation of this. And so although they are to raise with people who come into their premises this direction from myself and to encourage people to wear a mask, we're not actually going as far as to say that we absolutely require them to prohibit people from remaining on their premises or coming on their premises. We're taking a slightly softer approach or step with this.
And joining me once again is Bracebridge Mayor Graydon Smith. Graydon, thanks again for taking the time.
My pleasure.
So we're continuing the conversation that we had yesterday about mask usage in Muskoka. So we now have direction from the health unit that masks will be mandatory, and I'm using that with a quote-unquote system right now, in indoor spaces. Just want to start out from your perspective and impressions of this announcement.
Well, I was expecting it to happen. It unfolded, honestly, a little bit differently than I thought, because I wasn't sure if it was going to be recommended that municipalities have their own bylaws. So the health unit has really taken the lead on this and are setting the rules and setting the pace. And I'm appreciative of that, because I think the broader geographic area that we can implement this in, it's easier for people to understand where they have to have a mask on, and B, it's certainly easier to implement and enforce if need be.
Let's talk about enforcement and the way this works. You know, they've announced that they are mandatory within indoor spaces, you know, saved from having a religious issue with that or health conditions. But one thing that was mentioned clearly was that businesses will not be forced to turn away customers who are not wearing masks. And there was also a bit of, not confusion, but they weren't looking to fully enforce this, or so it seemed. So I'm just wondering, you know, does that, from your perspective, does that take sort of the teeth out of this type of mandate?
Well, I don't think it's atypical when you look at the bylaws or steps that have been taken in other municipalities that the enforcement side isn't the first tool. I know in speaking with a colleague of mine yesterday in one of the larger municipalities in Ontario, a regional municipality, they had 2,000 interactions with people who were not wearing face coverings, but it only issued 20 charges. So I think it's those that, get downright belligerent about it that may face the fine. But for most, it's an opportunity to educate them and ask for their compliance. So, while this is referred to as a mandatory situation, at the same time, under the guise of we're all in this together. The goal isn't to raise fine revenue. The goal is to get more people to be compliant. And if you can do that by talking to them first, I think that's a reasonable step.
So moving forward with this, Graydon, just wondering now, I did ask Dr. Gardner about whether or not municipalities may decide to enforce their own further bylaws with stricter guidelines using this as sort of a base model. He suggested that might be a good opportunity for municipalities to take the lead on. So would the District of Muskoka maybe look to this? I know that you were waiting to see what this announcement was. Might that be a discussion that comes to the table now?
I think might is the operative word, because I'm not sure what the next step will be from the district. I was saying yesterday, I think we need to get together at the earliest possible opportunity and have a discussion after the announcement is made. And now that that's happened, I would stand by that. It's from a district perspective, it's challenging because the problem is always going to be enforcement, and the district doesn't have its own bylaw officers. So if the health unit is looking for an additional level of enforcement or additional capacity, it would really fall to the local municipalities. And it's certainly quite limited there because we have small numbers of bylaw enforcement officers, and of course they're also doing other things too. So I don't know that you'll see a bylaw follow this at the District of Muskoka, but if it does, it will simply be to kind of mirror and enhance the message of the health unit.
So having said that, being that you are the mayor of Bracebridge, do you think that you'll also bring this to your own table?
I don't think so. Again, I really believe in the broad regional approach to this, and I don't see a benefit in bringing it to the local table. If there's anything that becomes different than another jurisdiction, it starts to cause confusion, and anytime there's confusion, it inhibits public acceptance and compliance rather than encourage it. So if necessary, we'll take a look at it, I suppose, but at this point, I don't really see the benefit of it.
All right. Well, Graydon, I appreciate your input on this. It's always valuable, and I'm sure we'll check in with you again in the near future to see where things are going in Muskoka in terms of the masks.
Thanks. My pleasure, and mask up.
All right. We are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Huntsville Town Hall has reopened to the public for general services. Town Hall was officially closed in March, shortly after the COVID-19 pandemic was officially announced.
It's been just over 3 months that we've been closed. And as the level of government that serves the community, it's really important that we provide all of the services that they need at a level that they expect. So even though we've been able to have some alternate forms of level of service, it's been a bit of a challenge, obviously, for some of our customers. So we're very excited to be able to welcome them back into Town Hall. So what we have set up is we do have some provisions that are the regular checkpoints that you'd have to make sure that you can answer the questions and you can answer no to all of the questions before you enter. Once you enter, we do request that you sanitize your hands as well as put on face masks, which are provided by the municipality. So we do have some protective barriers that are up at our customer service counters. And we do feel very confident that our staff are very well protected, as well as members of the community, when they enter the facility. So the general services that are provided, with the exception of community services, are all up and functioning. So a lot of our services actually never shut down during the closures. We did offer those services in alternate formats. But now we can honestly say that we're able to provide 100% of those services in person if necessary. We do encourage our customers to utilize the alternate service opportunities, such as phoning in or the website, just to ensure that we have limited interaction with individuals, but we certainly are welcoming the community back into our municipal building so we can provide services.
Beaches in most municipalities are now open, and in Gravenhurst, Mayor Paul Kelly says people around the area seem to be respecting the rules.
Up to this point in time, I believe, from what I can understand from the local councillor, Penny Varney, and from our bylaw officers, that people are generally being respectful of the beaches and the social distancing between each other on the beach. I have received no complaints thus far, not to say that they won't happen, but Councillor Varney has not either. And there was some concern on Cashy Lake on one of the public beaches there, but seems to be an isolated issue. The ones in town here, from what I understand from both the bylaw and the local councillor, that really people seem to be adhering to what the expectations are, which is really good news for our community, that all of those people that are using it, whether they be local residents or whether they be those from the city, that people do understand the importance around that.
Well, what do you think about the situation south of us, like at Wasaga Beach and what now they're going through? I mean, hopefully it would never come to that here.
Yeah, and I think that is the concern. I mean, certainly Wasaga Beach, Sauble Beach, and a lot of the big beaches, and beaches in Toronto. Hanlon's Point, I saw a picture, I think it was on Twitter today, with regard to it being literally packed yesterday. Again, same problem, where people are just needing to get out. So I'm hopeful that those messages and what those communities have had to deal with there will not follow here, and that people understand the importance of maintaining that distance, because it is a very big concern, and we've seen the fallout of that from places like Florida and California, where there's been total disrespect for social distancing. And the numbers, is it directly related to that? There's a very good chance it could be. So I'm hopeful that those lessons being learned in other locations are going to impact on how people behave here. An interesting fallout, though, that comes from this change of being able to use the beaches, again, coinciding with COVID-19, coinciding with the hot, humid temperatures. Of course, people are coming to the beach. What is happening is those people are coming to beach with takeout orders because they can't eat in a restaurant. So, and I know this is not just true here, because I've been reading it on social media in lots of communities, where what's happening is people are taking the takeout to the beach. And what's happening then is all of that refuge from the takeouts are all being left there. People, I think, generally are trying to be respectful, but the bins can only hold so much. And we've got more and more people that are kind of picnicking with the food they've taken out from wherever it happens to be. And it's created another problem, which is picking up the garbage on a regular basis. And we've been talking to staff about that, to relook at scheduling so that we can be on top of it. And it's certainly true on the weekends and on holidays, where it becomes even greater problem. Other than that, I think so far I still am very impressed with people that they're trying to adhere and do the right thing.
We're taking a quick break, but stay tuned for more after this. Welcome back. A heat warning has been issued for Muskoka for this week, and if you've been outside at all, you know it's feeling a lot more like July. But without cooling centers available in Muskoka, Muskoka Paramedic Services suggest you'll need to be more reliant on yourself to be vigilant and stay safe. So Joe, heat warning has been issued for Muskoka. Now obviously things are a little bit different because municipalities can't offer cooling centers at this time. So keeping that in mind, I wanted to get some perspective from Muskoka Paramedic Services on, what people should be also keeping in mind when it comes to dealing with these hot days we have ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's difficult without the cooling centers, but that doesn't stop us from having good actions to avoid heat-related illnesses. A lot of those illnesses are created from, the heat, but also doing strenuous activity in them. And what we need to do is make sure that we stay hydrated, because that's the key with the heat-related illness. Your body's trying to recover from having too much heat inside, and it wants to get rid of it. And a lot of the way that it does that is it releases it through the radiation through water. So we want to make sure you just drink lots of water, which we can do all the time. You want to stay out of the sun as much as possible, and you want to monitor your levels if you're doing strenuous activities. And then there's also still like a lot of the beaches are open and stuff like that. So there's still a lot of ways to stay cool and out of the sun and hydrated. And then if you're doing strenuous activities for a long time, you want to keep your electrolytes replenished. So some energy drinks in moderation and stuff like that.
So
the big thing, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Joe, please.
The big thing is awareness. You just want to be aware of the illnesses that it's kind of a progression. So you start off through normal activity. And then if you recognize some like cramping or heavy sweating, then you want to kind of ease the activity. And then that progresses into like what we call a heat exhaustion, which is where you'll get some more cramping, nausea, headaches. And those are signs that your body's telling you you're dehydrated. And that's where you start to really want to watch it, back the activity off, hydrate yourself with lots of water. And if those symptoms don't go away, then your body's progressing into what we call a heat stroke. And then that's where it's going to build, like, it's not going to be able to compensate anymore, and you get a high temperature. And then if you get any kind of confusion or disorientation, then you want to, now you're getting into the area of heat stroke, and that's quite serious. So you want to call 911 and get yourself seen by medical staff.
Now, I'm guessing people want to be a little more cognizant of the heat, especially that, many are wearing masks now, which can block a lot of your heat escape right from your body. So I'm assuming, again, it's just kind of being mindful of how much time you're spending outside.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the weather's beautiful, but it's pretty warm these days. So you want to stay out of the heat. And then you also want to, be aware, like, we want to enjoy the weather and participate in lots of activities. You just want to be aware of it and make sure you stay hydrated. Hydration is the key for heat-related illnesses, for sure.
Joe, one thing that you guys always put forward, and I do want to bring up again because that's always a great point, is checking on elderly neighbors.
Yeah, for sure. Especially people with any kind of heart-related illnesses, or some people that take like medications for blood pressure and stuff. That changes your ability for your body to compensate for the heat. So you want to check in on those people because the changes are going to be a little more gradual, and they're going to catch up on them quicker. And because of the medications and and heart problems, it makes it difficult for those people to keep up with the heat more so than a younger person. So you want to check in on those people and make sure they're keeping hydrated and and cooled off as much as possible, for sure.
And Joe, I think everyone's kind of curious, what do Muskoka's paramedics do to make sure they're staying cool? Because you guys always have a lot of equipment on and stuff, right? So what's the protocol usually?
Yeah, for sure. And with the COVID, I mean, we're having extra protective equipment on to keep everybody safe. So it's really warm in there. So we're just trying to do the same thing as the public. We just try and stay hydrated. We try and remind each other to stay hydrated. And then we also just trying to limit the amount of time that we're in that gear, and also the amount of time that we're outside. We try and get you back to the truck and out of the sun and in shelter, and and then just try and break it up with periods in areas that are cooled off.
We're taking another break, but stay tuned for details on a contest I'll be running this week. Welcome back. You may remember a few weeks ago we spoke to the creator of 2 new board games with a Muskoka focus. If not, here's a quick clip of my conversation with JP Teskey of Outset Media explaining the game he helped create.
Huntsville-opoly and Bracebridge-opoly are brand new for us this year. And as you say, it's just like Monopoly, but instead of locations like Park Place Boardwalk, we've got streets, businesses, parks. In the case of the Muskoka locations, we highlight lakes even, local businesses, as I say, festivals, and it celebrates all things, in this case, Huntsville and Bracebridge.
Well, I have some good news for those of you who are looking to try this game. I've got 6 copies of Bracebridgeopoly here in studio, and I'm ready to give them away. Now, how can you grab your own copy? Well, all you need to do is send me a video of your favorite place in Muskoka. It must be longer than 15 seconds, and please shoot in landscape mode. That's holding the phone to the side like this. That's the best way for us to get those videos. You can email your video to me at james.bowler@kojiko.com, and I'll be accepting submissions until Friday at 8 p.m. Now, I'll announce the 6 winners as of Monday, 10 a.m., that's July 13th, on our Facebook page, YourTV Muskoka. You can also find a detailed breakdown of the contest there as well. Good luck, and I look forward to seeing the videos you all send in. And with that, we're going to take our last break. I'll be back with today's recap. Welcome back. Here's a recap of today's headlines. Well, as of this coming Monday, masks will be mandatory in Muskoka's indoor public spaces. There are a few caveats to this rule, and the health unit admits it won't be heavily enforcing it just yet. However, if compliance isn't there, that may change. And Huntsville's town hall is now open again to the public. Masks will obviously need to be worn inside, and they will be provided at the door. And you can stay up to date with all our news and more on our Facebook page, YourTV Muskoka. And that is Kojiko News. For more information on the program, head over to yourtv.tv or connect with us on social media by searching YourTV Muskoka. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and of course, Facebook. And remember to watch us live at 5, Monday to Thursday from everyone here at Kojiko News. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.